Hey guys, this will be another video on immigration policy. This time we're going to look at immigration policy and its relationship with external stability. So we're going to look at what immigration policy and how that affects our external stability. So to remind ourselves what external stability is, it is actually achieved when Australia is living within its means. And that is signalled by three things: a low current account deficit, a sustainable net foreign debt, and also a stable currency. So if you want to remind yourselves what external stability, or the detailed analysis of external stability, again I'd encourage you to look back at Unit 3 and how on the lectures on external stability. So Australia, when it lives within its means and is able to pay off its financial obligations, that is characteristic of external stability. Okay, so we're going to look at this in this video. We're going to look at immigration policy and how it affects external stability in two ways. Firstly, we're going to look at the good way, or how it can improve our external stability, and then secondly, we're going to look at the bad way. Okay, we're going to look at this in two ways. Just going to split it up into a table, how it can be good and how it can be bad. So again, this requires a lot of discretionary judgment as to whether immigration policy can improve external stability. So to remind ourselves what immigration policy is, it is the inflow of labour resources from overseas. And this can be taken in the form of skilled, which makes up the majority of it, humanitarian, as well as a family labour. So we talked about this many times. It increases our aggregate supply by increasing the labour force, as well as increasing the efficiency at which we produce. So we're going to look at the good first, how it can be how it can positively affect external stability, before we look at the negative or the bad and how it can in fact hinder our external stability. So on a side note, when people migrate to Australia, they bring money over, and this money is, say their life savings, is recorded in the capital account. So that is, just on a side note, it doesn't affect our current account deficit because it is recorded in the capital account. So life savings, I'm just going to note up here, is recorded in the capital account. So this may pop up in some random question, multi-choice question, but just note, we're just going to note that life savings can or are recorded in the capital account. Yeah, so let's look at how immigration policy can improve our external stability. So as we know, aggregate supply increases because of this larger pool of labour, because we are also producing at a more efficient rate. So what this means is that we have more exportable surplus. We've also talked about how it decreases cost inflation, and all of this makes us more competitive. So as we know, the current account deficit is made up of both our primary incomes as well as our net goods and services. So we're exporting and we're importing. So with more migrants who are skilled coming over to Australia, this will see a larger exportable surplus because they are increasing their productivity. They would also decrease cost inflation, and as a result, this will make our products more internationally competitive. And this, as a result, would reduce our current account deficit. So by increasing our productive potential, we have more to export, and therefore we can cut down prices, and so overseas residents will tend to import from Australia more, and so we export more, and as a result our current account deficit will decrease. That is, by theory, how immigration policy can improve our external stability. But now we have the negative relationship and how it can actually worsen external stability. So We've talked about how immigration policy can increase exports, but we haven't really considered that it can also increase imports due to a larger population. As we know, we already import a lot of things from overseas. We import from China, we import it from India, we import from Philippines, Thailand, all these developing nations with lower labor costs. And although immigration policy tends to lower real unit labor costs, it doesn't actually detract from the fact that we have a very, very high minimum wage. And so as a result, we will still tend to import a lot. And with a larger population still, that means that would actually worsen the CAD because we would import actually even more. So a larger current account deficit. Again, with these skilled migration, a lot of these families, their parents or their grandparents will still live in their home country. And that would mean that some of these people may actually transfer income to these home countries, let's just call it. And because the money isn't spent in Australian borders, it means that it's not actually adding to our GDP. And so that's going to be recorded in the secondary incomes category of our current account, and therefore be recorded as a debit, so money flowing out of the economy. And as a result, that would also worsen our current account deficit. So in that case, that would result in a larger current account deficit. So although immigration policy, we can see that there are good qualities, there are sometimes perhaps bad qualities involved with immigration policy and the achievement of external stability. So we've got to balance out whether these exports here are actually more than our imports here. So exports and imports, and whether this reduction in cost inflation is sufficient enough to make us internationally competitive with overseas firms. And again, by transferring income to overseas countries to pay for their family or their parents or their grandparents or their children's living costs, that would actually take away from domestic consumption and again cause a larger CAD through debiting our secondary incomes category. So the overall result between immigration policy and external stability is a fairly discretionary, so we don't know what actually happens to external stability, but this is the theory behind how immigration policy can impact our external stability, or how it can impact our current account.